Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. Jacalyn. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. Jacalyn at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Well, hello and welcome to USA Global TV and Business Talk Radio. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. I'm so thrilled to be here today. Our show is The Listening Mentor. On this show, we feature people who have invested their time and money to become an elevated listener. What does that mean? That means that these are people that you want to do business with. These are people that you want to know. Why? Because they give you a safe place to share. They are authentically listening. They're not listening with judgment. They're not trying to come up with a solution. They're not going to interrupt you. They really do care about what it is you have to say. Let's bring our elevated listeners on for our show today. We have my partner, co-host, and friend, Mr. al.cini. Welcome.
Hi, Doc.
Hi, good to see you again. It's been about 3 minutes since the other show.
Yeah, totally pleasure.
And we also have another dear friend whom is always making me laugh. This guy knows so much about so much. His name is Mr. Hiett Ives. I love saying that name. Hiett Ives.
Hiett, how you doing, buddy?
How you both? Happy y'all.
Good to see you. And this is a fun show. And thank you for doing this on Wednesdays here in December. This is great.
This is, it's the whole idea of how we cross signals and miscommunicate is fascinating to me. I'm kind of a victim of it, and I'm a perpetrator of it as well. And that's why I found so much value in your program, Dr. Jacalyn. It was great to become an elevated listener, and I think it was really valuable for me.
Thank you, Al. I appreciate that. So just to let our audience know, we do offer 4 courses under the power of listening, and you can go over to Eventbrite and you can just put in the search engine, the power of listening. Our next courses are coming up January 5th. And if you use the code ELEVATED, you get a discount. Yay. Okay. So what we're going to do today, ladies and gentlemen, is Mr. Cini is going to lead us through a setup of a role play and who's going to do what. So Al, tell us what you have in mind today.
Well, Hiett and I actually discussed this, Hiett, and we talked last week. Our role play, Hiett, was generation gap role play, where a young person is talking to an older person, and how that can often go badly because people aren't very good listeners naturally because it requires so much work. So I thought about that. I thought that was so comfortable that this week we try it. And you suggested using Dr. Jacalyn as a participant. And this time we'll take that whole generational issue, which is part of the problem, and we'll multiply it by 10 by making it a parent-child thing. If you're in a family-owned business and you're one of the generations that works in that family, then you're dealing with the fact that you need to have a conversation with your boss, who is your mother or your father, knowing that in 3 days you're getting together for Christmas dinner or New Year's dinner. And so somehow you have to be able to manage all that without committing murder and losing your mind. But I have a scenario worked out for today that involves Dr. Jacalyn playing the matriarch of it's an employee-owned, woman-owned business that delivers home heating oil. And I'm the 23-year-old son who has been working in the business since high school and has ideas, all kinds of ideas, because I'm 23 and I know everything.
So I have a question. The fact that you're 23, does that make me younger now than I actually am instead of 58?
We all know, actually, I'm pushing it a little bit. We all know you're only in your 30s. So
well, I could blow the bubble and say you had him late.
I I love it. Well, this sounds like a great role play. Before we get into it, I want our audience to know, because I shared with them, they need to work with you. They should be working with you because you actually care and you are listening. So let's talk a little bit about what it is that you do. Mr. al.cini, tell us about your company.
We align people with their purpose. We've created a team building experience that works for whole companies or departments within companies. It can be scaled from 2 people all the way up to potentially hundreds or even thousands of people. The goal is to encourage the members of the organization to visualize their best self as a team, and then make an action plan, OKRs, I think they call them these days, an action plan of commitments to changing their behavior to be more like the role model that represents all of us when we're doing our best work on our best day. We call it the Brand and Culture Alignment Toolkit. It's a simple, scientific, validated 4-step process. And you can learn more by reaching out to me at al.cini@getbcat.com. Thank you, Doc.
And Al, based on our last show, the Business Talk Show, what's a good hashtag for people to start to use to support your work?
I've got a brand and culture alignment is a little bit too much to type. I've got to come up with one. And, that's a whole separate conversation. I can't wait to get Ryan Harbinson back to talk about hashtags and how you craft them and then how you get people to know them and use them.
Fantastic. All right. If anybody has any ideas for a great hashtag for Mr. Cini's company, just go ahead and put it in the comments.
Email them to me.
All right, Mr. Hiett Ives, tell us about what you're doing and the type of work that you offer to this wonderful world.
I am a business marketing communicator. I help companies put their written material, be it website, collateral material, social media, in second person, present tense, call to action format. In other words, I help them do it right. Because most of them are doing it that ain't not right way. I also specialize in business to business trade show marketing, and I'm working with a couple of companies now to put together their entire business to business trade show program, and that comes out of my other book, 88 Successful Event Strategies, and I guarantee qualified leads from any business to business trade show where somebody uses my services. So writing and trade shows.
Thank you, Hiett.
Excellent.
All right, gentlemen, are you ready to start with the role play?
Oh, I am, Mom.
I didn't hear you. Sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I am, Mom.
Well, hello, son. I'm quite busy right now. What is it I can help you with?
Well, I know you're busy, Mom. And, I'm walking around the place and, we've been delivering home heating oil since great grandpa started the thing. And I know that's important. And I know people heat their homes with oil. And I mean, look at me, I'm covered in oil. I mean, I've been doing this since I was in high school. I've been working part-time and full-time since I was a little kid. Now I'm 23. And,
I'm sorry. What do you think? You have it rough because you're covered in oil. You know how much oil I've been covered in? You should have seen me when my hair was covered in oil. Your father would look at me and say, you're covered in oil. I'm like, that's what we have to do. So I don't want to hear it. Go on.
Well, okay. All right. So, so then let's change the subject. I think that's a great idea. How about instead of just delivering oil, we get into some other stuff that we could be doing for people in their homes? Like maybe we could deliver spring water. Maybe we could repurpose some of the distribution channels to deliver drinking water to some of the people in their homes rather than just oil. I mean, don't we need to go green here? Don't we need to think up ways to be a little bit more? Come on, Ma, you know what I'm talking about.
Is this what you spend your time doing? It's no wonder that I have to pick up the slack around here because you're spending all of your time in la la land thinking about how we could do this and how we could do that. We do heating and oil. That's what we've been doing. That's what we're known for. That's our branding. That's how we afford all these homes that we have and these beautiful trips that we go on. And now you want to take us down some different direction that we don't have any expertise in? Are you out of your mind? Get back to work. I'm busy here.
No, look, you're always bitching and moaning about how much money you spent to put me through college. I get all that. I was a communications major. I learned an awful lot in college. You may not have any respect for that, but I got to tell you, there are things that are happening in the world, Mom. The world is changing. Things are happening around you, and you're not paying any attention to it.
Oh, Oh, look at you, Mr. 23-year-old, telling me that I'm not paying attention. What did you do? Google something and now you think that you know more than I do? Why don't you switch places with me and you see if you can run this place, Mr. Green Genius?
That's brutal. Ow. All right, Hiett, how much more do we have to do?
Well, why don't we pick up from there? And it's it was interesting. You did the young person approach very well because it's all very general, and as Dr. Jacalyn said, in la la land, we need to be changing and
So what are you, mom and dad? Oh, I don't have a chance.
Don't tell Linda.
Yeah. Well, as far as uh, getting somebody to join your side is to research a little bit more and get down to some specifics. I thought the product recommendation of drinking water, that is on the total other end of the spectrum. That
It is.
sleep, from the heating oil to drinking water. Child, if you come up with something that maybe could be carried in the same truck, perhaps, maybe picking up. Here's a green approach for you: picking up the grease, restaurant grease, and reprocessing that into heating oil.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That is a very good idea.
That sounds greenish. That's pretty good. And I can relate to your concern that if a truck rolls up and the word oil is painted out and the word water is painted over it, and they stick that hose and pump that stuff in your house, you're telling me I'm drinking water out of a truck that was delivering oil last week? I don't think I'm happy about that.
Well, it sounds like Bob Newhart started as a stand-up comedian, and one of his first routines was the Grace L. Ferguson Airline and Storm Door Company.
That's perfect. So let me ask you this, Hiett. I think your advice that if you're going to propose a new idea to somebody who's been doing something their whole life, you really need to do some research and maybe come up with a business model before you present it, right? But is there a way that my mom might have encouraged me now that I've given her a partially baked idea? Could my mom have somehow encouraged me to go fully bake it and then come back to her later?
Your mom can answer if you want after Hiett. Go ahead.
Well,
and I will probably be echoing what Dr. Jacalyn is going to say, and that is, all right, if you think this is something we ought to do, go put together a business plan and show me the bottom line, and then we'll talk about it.
All right, I like it. Now,
okay,
here's
so you would
here's
say that,
what,
and then I would say I've never written a business plan. Could you help me write it?
and yes. Okay, so here's what I would suggest. Let's reverse, and you're actually me now. You can be the dad.
Okay.
Dad, I am so excited about what you and the 5 generations of our family have created here. Every single day, I count my blessings that I am part of this family, that we are basically helping transform lives by keeping people warm, keeping them comfortable in their homes. And I just am, again, so thrilled to be part of this. I'm wondering, as we look to the future and as the world changes, can we talk about, set aside time to talk about other ways we can bring value to our customers?
That way of approaching it was better than my way because first of all, you respected the tradition. I mean, so I'm feeling less threatened, and it's disarming to hear you approach it that way. And you're not telling me something to do. You're just asking me if I might have some time to talk with you about some things that you're thinking might be good things to do. Exactly. I don't know. If I were an enlightened 21st century parent, Dr. Spock trained, Mr. Spock trained, or whatever, Dr. Spock trained parent, maybe I would not shut you down and tell you to go back to work and leave me alone and don't bother me. Maybe I would do that, but probably if you're saying this to me at work, I'm probably going to tell you just go back to work and shut up. Now's not a good time. I'm putting out fires. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure how you break this. Somehow we're immediately set up to fight over this. And I like the way you approach it because I think it lowers the probability of it, but it doesn't exactly eliminate it. I've been through this. Have you ever experienced this with one of your parents? I mean, where you've told them you think you know better than they do, or they've interpreted that what you're saying is that they know better than that you know better than they do what they're doing?
Well, we've all done that. Let me, relative to where I was starting, I was in a breakfast meeting a couple of weeks ago at a high school, a skills high school, and they had oil and gas as one of the verticals they were working with. And I was talking to a 16-year-old who was using all of the generalities, climate change, global warming, but no specific. We have to get rid of oil and gas, and that's why I tried to get her down to some specifics, but they've been taught to be in generalities rather than, hey, we've been delivering oil, heating oil, things are changing. One of the new sources of heating oil is restaurant grease, restaurant and hotel grease. How about we look into using some of the trucks to collect that and then sell it to those that are remarketing it and establish a new source of income, a new source of revenue.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. That's a way to disarm the approach. I think also it's in the setup. Everything changes, right? If you think about what the evolution of the car, and now people going to the moon, or technology, the first giant phone that was in the car now. So it would make sense that if you are a leader, you own a business, that you should be thinking about the future, because things are going to change just with this pandemic. How are you going to adjust? What are you going to do? So if you don't insult the person, if you don't back them into a corner where they're like, whoa, wait a minute, then you have a better chance of getting your message heard. If you put them up on a pedestal, if you make them feel good, if you basically say that you are in support of what they're doing and you have some additional ideas to help them flourish even more and be of more value to their clients, people typically are going to want to listen.
That's a good point. You'd think that. I had a customer, client that made driveway pavers. So everybody knows what those are. They're paving stones that you drive on around your house. That's it. It's an alternative to asphalt. And in a product brainstorming meeting, they had those once a quarter. The owner's son piped up with an idea. And the idea was, why don't we make a line of pavers that are translucent that we put lights in, so that when you're building your driveway, you can line the driveway with pavers that glow. And that avoids the need to install landscape lighting as markers for your driveway. Right? I mean, actually a really good idea.
Yeah, good idea.
Not a bad idea at all, because a big problem with landscape lighting is people are always driving over them. In this case, they're on the driveway lights up. That's how they know where the driveway is. You don't have to, with LEDs, those lights can last 10 or 15 years. They can last a long time. Well, the laughter was immeasurable. It was like somebody walked into a comedy club. The father started it by laughing at the idea, and then everybody else who reported to the father laughed along with the father. It left the kid feeling ambushed, frankly. And I don't think he said another word that whole meeting. But I do remember 3 years later, a Japanese company came out with lit pavers, and they're a huge seller because it solves a big problem that people have in their homes.
Yep.
And they could have had it 3 years ago if they would have just listened to the kid.
So to me, it shows that if you have a closed off mindset or mentality, you're the one people are going to be laughing at because you weren't open to new ideas. And I think that that happens quite often. Al, you know, because you've been here with me since the very beginning, that when I started out, people were reaching out to me with ideas about how I should do something.
Mhm.
And the way they present it is they insult me. First, they insult me and tell me they have an idea. Well, if you're going to insult someone, how likely is it they're going to want to listen to what you have to say? So I that just amazes me when people take that approach. If you want someone to hear what you have to say, don't put them down.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and part of and that first of all, if you really want to hear somebody's idea, then you got to allow it. You can't shoot it down. It's like you said. Some of the best ideas you could hear are in the heads of your people already. They're just not offering them because they're afraid to often. And secondly, if I were the kid, I think having had my hat handed to me as a result of bringing it this way, I think before I brought it to you, Mom, I probably would have gone onto the shop floor, talked to one of the senior supervisors, discussed the idea with them, and then brought them in with me to talk to you about it after I had their support for it. That's kind of along Hiett's lines. If you just back it up a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
just make it give the idea some weight and a little gravity, and maybe Mom or Dad won't react to it the way they normally would if you offered it over Thanksgiving dinner.
Something that I have been thinking about lately, I have had positions with 3 industry leaders in their field that everybody thought would never, ever go away. And none of those companies exist anymore.
Oh,
One of them is a little mom and pop company called Compact Computers. Another one is another little mom and pop organization called Browning Ferris Industries, at the time one of the largest trash collectors in the world. And the third was Cameron Ironworks, which was the Cadillac of oil and gas drilling and production pressure control equipment.
well,
None of those companies exist.
they
today.
don't. I used to work for Digital Equipment Corporation,
Yeah.
and I've heard the boss. I heard the boss, Ken Olson, talk about how personal computers are stupid and pointless and nobody needs them. I mean, I heard him say that out loud. On top of that, he was saying it out loud in front of a group of people who sold Digital's line of personal computers.
Mm-hmm.
So he's addressing the sales force saying, look, keep doing it. I know we have to do something like this, but I'm telling you, nobody needs a PC. PCs are stupid. All you need is a mini computer and a terminal. I swear. Said this out loud. And of course, Digital Equipment Corporate, once the second largest computer company in the world, no longer exists.
Well, and I was hired to when the 2 companies merged, and they both had 60 by 60 booths at a major industry show.
Yeah.
And 6 weeks before the show, I was hired to go to the management of the show and say, I'm canceling both of those booths, and we need to come up with something like a 70 by 90 booth, and there'll be one company. And I made that happen at 3 shows, and then that fell apart because Digital
That didn't work. They didn't have a vision.
Yeah.
They had no particular idea what they were doing. It was just merging balance sheets.
Yep.
Not product, not vision, not focus, not nothing. They just merged numbers.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think one thing to keep in mind that I'm taking from this discussion that we're having is that in many cases, the receiver acts the way they act because they're afraid. They're afraid of change. They're afraid of what it's going to mean to their time, to their budget. And if you can alleviate any of that, then I think the likelihood of them listening and implementing what you're saying, they're 2 different things, right? First, you have to get their attention, and then you have to get them to implement whatever it is. So you have to take that fear, that any type of anxiety that you're going to cause by what you're bringing up in the way that you deliver what you're going to deliver.
Well, I think Al and I both hit on it. He said, bring somebody from the shop who you've worked with to put it together. Or like I said, here is an ancillary business that we can go into very easily, very comfortably with the equipment we've got, with only a modest modification, and come up with a new income source.
Yes. Now, something that we talk about also to that point is when Al and I just had that role play, maybe I really am in the middle of something And maybe, Al, this has been a burning desire. You're so excited because you've come up with some amazing ideas of how you can help our company, our family. But yet I am in the throes of a firestorm or a budgeting issue or customer service. So that's the other thing, is asking, is this a good time? When can we have a few minutes to discuss something? And whatever it is you're putting out there, when would be a good time to discuss how I think we can make our customers pique their interest in some other ideas that we can offer them. So it's non-threatening and it's a positive message. Now I'm thinking, you know what, I want to get on that. I want to meet with my son to talk about that. He's a smart guy. He sounds like he's got something that I really need to sit down with him about, because we want our customers to love us and stay with us till the end of time. And if he has something else, I need to listen to it. It creates a need, that adrenaline that I now have, that I'm excited about what you have to say.
Have you ever had that experience where you're walking outside the boss's office and you're looking at the admin person that reports to the boss, and somebody's coming up and they kind of want to go in and talk to the boss, but they stop and they ask the admin, what kind of mood is she in today? Good or bad? The admin will say, you turn around and you go back. Today would be a bad day. You have to pick up little cues like that. And maybe go looking for them before you barge in. That's important too.
Yeah, because again, you only get one opportunity to present something for the first time. So you want to make sure that the other person is listening, that they have the capacity to listen to what it is you have to say. So as somebody who's the presenter, know your audience and be mindful of your timing of when you're going to deliver the information.
Very important.
Yeah. And that's where, sending one of these, little message, is this a good time? Do you have a few minutes? Is this a good time to talk? And then put your phone number in there. And if they call it back, then it was. And if they don't, it wasn't.
That's a good way to play it.
I also like to, let's say I want to speak to somebody today. I might send them a text and write, when are you available in the next 30 minutes?
Yep.
And then they look, I'm not available in 30 minutes, how presumptuous, but I am available in the next hour. Yep. So I think it's sort of like a form of negotiation.
Yep. Well, and it preps them. You if you call them directly, and they may be in the middle of something, but if you text them, well, I need to take a break from what I'm doing, so let me call them back. I know, Jacalyn, she's not going to be beating around the bush. She's going to be get in there, get it done, get out. So I'll give her the 5-10 minutes that it might take.
Good point. I always thought it was interesting. I was in sales for my whole career, and a lot of the training would be about cold calling. Who likes to get a phone call where someone just, hi, this is Jacalyn Kerbeck, and I'm wondering if you're interested in the Sunday daily paper, because we've got a great special. Click. Hi, just click. You just go down the list hoping, just a numbers game. But when you just contact somebody at a time that's convenient for you, that's actually kind of offensive if you don't ask, is this a good time? When would be a good time?
Yep.
All right. Point. You're very good. Good discussion. Go ahead.
On that same note, after the fact, I think I told the story once before where I went in, I made a proposal on a Friday afternoon or Friday morning. It went well verbally, and I said, I'll have a proposal on your desk Monday morning. And I got back and realized I forgot to ask the person the one question: what do you need to make a decision?
And
I literally called her back and said, I forgot to ask you the key question. I thought I was going to have to put together 8 or 10 hours worth of work. And she said, all I need is X, which was about an hour's work. And gave her what she wanted. And guess what? I got the business.
That's good advice.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
Good.
Very good. All right. I want to let our audience know, I'm just going to post this, that we would love for you to subscribe to our channel. Al and Hiett will be here on Wednesdays. What are there, 2 Wednesdays left in this month?
Two this month, I think.
Yes.
2 this month, yeah. And then we'll see about what's happening next year.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we are running the Power of Listening. The next seminar is January 5th and you can take parts 1 and 2, and then a 7-question quiz, and you can become an elevated listener. Imagine if you're on the stage with these two guys, okay? Imagine what you can learn. Use code ELEVATED to get savings.
It was a great program. I really can recommend it. So I'm
Yep.
hoping people will listen, pay attention. It's a great investment and very worthwhile.
And
Thank
if you want
you.
the answers to the quiz, my number is 555-1212.
I love it. So much fun with you guys.
Cool.
So thank you. All right. Any last messages you want to leave our audience with for today, Al?
No, as I was talking to Hiett, and we were talking about compact and digital and companies that don't exist anymore because of, I'm thinking I ought to write a book on stupid things I've heard bosses say, because there are some unbelievably disastrous things have happened because of conversations that went exactly the way yours and mine did.
Yep.
Where an idea that was really needed to be heard never got heard because it was offered ineptly or handled rudely. And so you may not realize it out there, but you're losing money by acting this way, by behaving in this way.
Yeah.
So that's why your course, I think, is so valuable, Doc.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Al. I also want to add that I know for me, I get people reaching out to me all the time to do something. Can you write a testimonial? Can you put a letter about this? Can you speak to my employer? And I always say yes, if I can. So my point is, if people are coming to you with ideas, maybe just proactively on your calendar, why not just set half an hour a week that you let it be known that if you have some idea, some suggestion for this business, for our culture, you can actually get on my calendar at this time because I want to hear it. When people know that you're open, it totally changes the environment, right, Al? You know all about that with culture and alignment.
That's a good idea. But if I had a sign outside my office that said, "This is the idea hour, everybody's welcome, one at a time," that sends a message, even for people that don't come in and take advantage of it.
Mm-hmm. So true. It shows that you're open. And again, I'm going to go to Hiett, but for me, I love hearing people's ideas. And when I'm not working, I'm going to see what other people are doing. People send me newsletters. I never unsubscribe. I want to see, what are other people doing? How can I learn from what other people are doing? If you're the person who's always saying, no, I don't have the time, I'm not interested, sadly, you're the one who's going to be left behind, because we need to keep evolving, growing, and changing. All right, enough of my spiel. Mr. Hiett Ives, what would you like to add?
I do this to the youth based on what I did a couple of weeks ago, but also to anybody that's making a suggestion for change. Make it as specific as possible. We are way too much into generalities. We want to address climate change. We want to address global warming. We want to address, the eradication of oil and gas. Get specific. Get to actionable items, and it may be that first bite of the elephant, but it's a bite rather than, oh, we've got a big elephant.
Yeah, do your homework.
Yes.
I think that's such great advice.
And I'll just add this. When I did my doctoral dissertation or my master's, you have to come up with a hypothesis. If this, then that. If you do this, then you can expect that. And at the end of that, it should be something specific: increase productivity by this, increase revenue by this, decrease turnover by this. That gets people excited. It's like, oh, my bottom line. If I want to listen to this, why wouldn't I?
Yeah, what are the results going to be?
Yes, make it results oriented. How's it going to impact the client experience, the onboarding experience? All those things get people's interest.
How is it going to save us money or make us money?
Right. Exactly. All right. We could go on and on. This has been fascinating. Thank you guys for being here.
Thanks for having us, Doc.
All right. Let's go through the contact information. Mr. al.cini.
Easiest way to reach me is al.cini at getbcat.com. have a toll-free number, 855-999-BCAT. Feel free to call or email, and let's get a conversation started about aligning your people with your purpose to improve performance, get better bottom line results, and make people happier.
All right, Alan, when we see you next, we want that hashtag.
I'm working on that.
Okay. Hiett Ives, what's the best way for people to reach you? And what hashtag are you going to come up with?
Oh, you have to ask. I will. All right, I'll work on that as well. When you are ready to have your collateral material, your website, your communications be second person, user friendly, with a call to action, get a hold of me when you're ready to get more involved in the business to business trade show marketing. Get a hold of me at Hiett@HiettIves.com. That's HIETT Hiett, HIETT at HIETTIVES, or 832-372-6900, as you see on the board there, 832-372-6900. You can also find me on LinkedIn.
Thank you, Hiett. This is a lot of fun. I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Thanks again for being here.
What shall we address next week?
Well, guess what, people? I see people watching on YouTube, LinkedIn. We've got 5 Facebook pages. Anybody who wants to comment, whether it's now or later, what topic would you like us to role play next week? That would be a lot of fun.
Great advice. We can improv it. That'd be great.
Yeah, we definitely can improv. So don't be shy. I don't know why people don't get engaged. You know, yesterday I reached out to an old friend to wish him a happy birthday today. And he said, "Oh, I really enjoy watching you grow. I watch your shows." And I wrote back, "Why don't you comment? I don't know you're there." Like, I appreciate it. I don't know why people don't just, put hello, or we enjoy what you're doing. We have a suggestion, whatever it might be. Always from a positive perspective. But we do appreciate you being here. And Alan, Hiett, I love you both. And thank you for lighting up the stage and bringing such wonderful content to our audiences.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you. All right, everybody, we're going to say goodbye for now. We look forward to seeing you. We'll be back tomorrow. So take care. And remember, over the holidays, it might be tense sometimes. Take a deep breath in. Wait 6 seconds, maybe because it's the holidays, maybe wait 10 seconds before you respond. And if someone's throwing a little rock at you, figuratively, just take a step back. You don't have to pick up a boulder and throw back at them, because then your whole meal is going to be ruined and everybody's going to be like, "Oh my gosh." We have a comment. Ann Dunn would like to find a sponsor in the USA for her brand in Ireland. Okay, Ann, so if you think about it, we appreciate your comment. Thanks for watching. This show is the Listening Mentor, where we're role-playing about how to listen. So if you have a specific idea that would help entice sponsors, we'd be happy to role-play. Al, Hiett, do you have any comments for Ann about how we could do this?
I have a whole week to work this out. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
tell,
great.
Tell us what the product is and what market she wants to go into.
Yeah, let's send us some information.
Yeah, thank you, Ann. That's great. Okay. All right. We are now saying goodbye. We'll see you guys next week. Let me just take the comment off.
Thanks, Doc. Appreciate it.
Oh, she writes great. Thanks, Ann. We really appreciate you. All right. We'll see you again. Bye.